have you ever stopped to think about the huge gap between the things that actually scare us, stuff like spiders or plane crashes, and what's really most likely to be dangerous? Well, as we're about to find out, our brains are often, kind of terrible at telling the difference.
This sentence right here is the key to this whole puzzle. It just sounds wrong, doesn't it? It feels completely backwards. But believe it or not, over the next few minutes, we're gonna see why, statistically, it's absolutely 100% true.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? If the numbers all prove that flying is incredibly safe, why does just the thought of it make your palms sweat, while hopping into a car feels like the most normal thing in the world? Let's dive in.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we have to do something that's actually kind of hard. We have to put our feelings on the back burner for a minute and just look at the cold, hard data. Let's start with the math.
Here it is, the first number you need to see. Your odds of dying in a commercial plane crash are about 1 in 11 million. That's a number so huge it's almost impossible for our brains to even process what it really means.
So let's try to put 1 in 11 million into perspective. Imagine you got on a plane every single day. You could do that for over 30,000 years before you'd be statistically likely to be in a fatal crash. I mean, just think about that. That's how mind-bogglingly safe modern air travel has become.
Now, let's compare that to something many of us do without a second thought: driving. For someone who drives for a living, their chance of dying in a car accident in just 1 year is about 1 in 8,000. Whoa. Suddenly, that 1 in 11 million number for flying seems even smaller, doesn't it?
Sometimes you just have to see it. If we imagine the risk of dying on a single flight is just a value of 1, then the risk for a professional driver over a year is a staggering 1,375 times higher. They're not even in the same league. It's not even close.
And here's one last comparison that might just blow your mind. Your odds of winning a big lottery jackpot, about 1 in 140 million, which means you are actually about 12 times more likely to die in a plane crash than you are to win the lottery.
Okay, so the data is crystal clear, right? Flying is incredibly safe. Driving, not so much. So what on earth is going on inside our heads? Why does our brain completely ignore the math and flip the feeling of danger upside down? This is where it gets really, really interesting.
It turns out there are these powerful psychological triggers. They're like mental shortcuts that cause our brains to totally ignore the numbers and make us fear flying way more than driving. There are 4 big ones.
So here are the 4 culprits. First, our feeling or lack of control. Second, media attention. Third, a sneaky mental shortcut called the availability heuristic. And finally, number 4 is our deep, deep evolutionary wiring. Let's break each one down.
First up is control. Think about it. In a car, your hands are on the wheel, you're in charge, and your brain automatically thinks, I'm in control, so I'm safe. But on a plane, you're just a passenger. You control absolutely nothing, and your brain reads that helplessness as pure danger. So it's not about the actual risk, it's all about that feeling of control.
Number 2, the media effect. When a plane goes down, it's a huge, dramatic, emotional story. It's on the news 24/7 for weeks. But the thousands of people who die in car crashes every single day, they barely make a ripple. They're just a statistic on page 10. Our brains latch on to that big, vivid, emotional story. And because of that, we think it happens all the time. And that leads us right into our third point, which is a really powerful mental bias called the availability heuristic. See, our brains are lazy. Instead of digging through boring statistics, they just ask a simple question. Hey, how easily can I think of an example? And because the news makes plane crashes so memorable and easy to picture, our brain makes a mistake. It assumes that if it's easy to remember, it must be common.
And finally, we've got to look at our own programming. For thousands and thousands of years, for our ancestors, falling from a great height meant one thing: certain death. That fear is baked into our DNA for survival. So when you're sitting in a metal tube 30,000 feet in the air, you're not just being nervous, you're fighting against a primal survival instinct that's screaming, we are not supposed to be up this high.
So, when you put all this together, what does it mean for us today? What does it mean for our modern minds that are, let's be honest, still running on some very old software? Let's bring it all home.
Here's the brutally honest summary of it all. Our fear of flying, it's totally understandable when you look at the psychology, but the actual real-world risk is incredibly low. At the same time, we wildly underestimate how dangerous traffic is, when in reality, the risk is very, very high. Our feelings and the facts are completely inverted.
And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? We are wired to fear the improbable thing that's sudden and dramatic, and to ignore the probable thing that's just everyday and boring. Our brains are masterpieces, for sure, but they evolved to keep us safe from predators on the savannah. They didn't evolve to read spreadsheets and understand statistics.
So that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. Now that you know how easily our brains can get risk wrong, what else in your life might you be misjudging? From your health to your finances to your relationships, what other fears might be completely out of whack with reality? It's definitely something to think about.